On this episode of TQA Weekly, I talk about NAS drive servers, making your own compared to the actual buying of your own that's already pre-built, the differences, what you need to do to build your own custom NAS drive, and of course, the price difference at the end of the day. My name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and if ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions, and or PC horror stories, you can always email me at ask@tqaweekly.com, go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and either leave me a message through my contact form, and of course, you can always leave comments and all that information that you want to share with us down below on the show notes page for this specific episode. And of course, you can always leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, blip.tv, or anywhere else I post to online every single week. This episode of TQA Weekly is also brought to you by ProXPN. ProXPN is a virtual private network that allows you to use the internet the way it should be, anonymously and without oversight. For 20% off your new account, go to proxpn.com/podcast and use the coupon code TQAWEE. Remember, that is all in caps. Now, for those who've already done custom NAS drive servers, please, tqaweekly.com/SE4EP24. Log in, leave comments, leave details about how you did it, all the resources you did, stories about how it failed or how it actually worked better for another way, and of course, if you would like, leave your RAID configuration there so that other people can either try to copy you or know what's best for them. And I'm going to try to help people out with the beginning parts by explaining various details about the NAS drive servers now. So first, it is not a cakewalk. It is not something that should be taken lighthearted, but it's not building a gaming grade computer. So a lot of your money in this kind of build is going to go towards drives, imagine that, and your power supply. And you're going to want some ventilation in there. But let's start with first things first. Do you need a RAID setup for within a NAS drive server? And the answer is no. It's not required. If you only have one drive in the entire setup, you won't need to use RAID. RAID only occurs if you have 2 or more drives anyway. Are RAIDs good? Depends on the circumstances, but in most cases, not really. RAIDs are actually not that bad for data redundancy, but it depends how you're doing it. If you're striping the data, useless. If you're mirroring it, you lose space. So basically, it's a balance of both that has to be done. In either case, whether you use RAID or not, I do strongly suggest that you use a backup. And of course, if you have access to a RAID configuration backup, use it. If it's the motherboard or the RAID card itself, if you decide to go for a RAID card separately, most of the time they're easy to replace, especially within the first year and a half, 2 years after you purchased it. You'll be able to get another identical board, use the same configuration file for your RAID, and just continue on with your day. If you couldn't get another one that was identical or you didn't create the backup, it's a lot more headaches than anything else, especially if you didn't make a backup in the first place. RAID controllers and motherboards blow out more often than the hard drive counterparts, especially if you're going to be using the same pieces I will be suggesting. What do you need to create your own NAS drive server? So I personally like the idea of using a separate operating system drive. Normally SSD, make sure you initiate trim to make that drive last longer. Then I prefer to use Western Digital Red drives for this kind of job. They're a little bit more expensive, but I'll get into the details a little bit down the line. And of course, robust power supplies. Let's talk about that first. We're not going to be using a graphics card in here except for the operational installation of the system, but guess what? You're going to be using more 12-volt connectors than you are typically using in your standard computer. So I strongly suggest 80 plus silver or better. So this is going to cost you about $160 for, let's say, a Silverstone power supply that is also 80 plus silver. Now the 80 plus actually refers to how much of the percentage of that power supply it's going to be able to cap on the number of wattage. So these drives, these 80 plus rated drives, can actually get their certified wattage limit. If you're going to if you're going to go and buy a cheap power supply, do not build RAID. If you're going to be building RAID, use 80 plus silver or better, because below that you might not have enough juice for any build that has more than 3 or 4 drives. And this is because you might actually be leaving them on all day long and you're going to be needing ventilation. That's the other thing. You're going to have to get a box. Doesn't matter how big it is, it just has to be well ventilated. That will allow for all the drives to fit inside the motherboard and sufficient airflow to keep everything cool inside. And of course, the operating system on the SSD drive is a must. Since it's mostly going to be accessing the operating system and not writing the operating system, it will last longer provided trim is activated. Data drives should be your traditional spinning drives because of wear and tear. Now, most conventional hard drives do not like vibrations or heat. Western Digital Red drives, and by the way, they don't even sponsor me, actually are designed for higher heat, not high heat, higher heat loads and vibrations, since they're actually specifically designed to be in NAS drives, or what we will call consumer servers, because you do have enterprise level hard drives that are better built than that. But for you, you're going to be wanting that kind of drive. They're $219 Canadian for 4 terabytes. If that is plenty of space, that's all you need to spend, plus your operating system drive. If you decide to use a separate one, you can always leave it on the first one and everything be on the same drive. Now, if you decide to go my way with the operating system drive, the power supply that's 80 plus silver, and of course any cheap motherboard with processor and 4 gigs to 8 gigs of RAM max. You don't need much more than that. What you're going to be spending is approximately $513 for 2 4 terabyte red drives with an OS drive of 60 gig. That's the SSD at $75. That will be $732 for 3 red drives, $951 for 4 red drives with the SSD. And let's say you went with 4, combined with everything else, the power supply and everything, you're spending roughly $1,200. Now, what about pre-built NAS drive configurations? They are simpler, easier to put together, but here's the catch. Roughly $725 with a single terabyte drive already installed and only able to support 3 terabyte drives. That's basically what you can get with $725. 1 terabyte and a maximum load of 3 terabytes. Building your own custom server can allow you access to up to 4 terabytes, the actual maximum for the moment. And you can use all the equipment you want and you can make it look anything you want. You can't always get the color you want for a pre-built NAS drive, but you can sure build your own personal NAS drive in any color you want at this point if you're going to build it yourself. And it's going to be cheaper. Remember, $725 gives you a single terabyte drive installed, and it can only support 3 terabyte drives. Whereas I just told you, for $513, you get an OS drive that is 60 gigs SSD, 2 terabyte, 2 4 terabyte red drives, and you throw in about $200 and something for the motherboard, the RAM, the processor, and of course the power supply. So for roughly the same price, you will have 8 times more space than with your own pre-built NAS drive. So if I didn't actually convince you to buy your own stuff and actually build your own drive and actually talk or ask us for help for building this, buy the pre-built. If you actually like a challenge, go ahead, build it this way. So now more than ever, your online freedom and privacy are under threat. Governments and ISPs want to control what you can or cannot see while keeping a detailed record of everything you do, plus that free Wi-Fi at the coffee house or airport terminal is putting you at risk because your passwords and sensitive data can be intercepted more easily than you might think. ProXPN is a global VPN that works with almost any internet connection, creates a secure encrypted tunnel through which all online data passes back and forth. Any online application can work with ProXPN. including your web browser, email, file sharing, and instant messaging programs. ProXPN keeps everything you do online hidden, providing eyes, disguising your physical location, and giving you unfeathered access to any website or online service no matter where you live or travel to. With complete online privacy with a 2048-bit encryption key and 512-bit encryption tunnel, works with OpenVPN or PPTP, protects you against the ISP 6 strikes rule, internet filtering, blocked websites, geographical restrictions with internet content, and online video with worldwide servers. Available in the US, UK, Asia, and more. ProXPN software for Windows and Mac offers advanced controls allowing you to select the programs and ports you want to anonymously route through ProXPN servers, and also works with iOS or Android devices. They also have applications for those, allowing you to use your own data plan or public corporate Wi-Fi with complete and total privacy on the go. 24/7 customer support. And all you need to do is go to proxpn.com/podcast for more information and to sign up. TQA weekly watchers and listeners, that includes you, also get a free 30-day risk-free trial. Remember to visit proxpn.com/podcast and sign up with the coupon code TQAWEE. And if you needed any more of a point to actually go there now, ProXPN premium accounts are normally $9.95 a month. $74.95 for the entire year, which is already better than the per month price. But we have a special offer for you. Use the coupon code TQAWEE, all in caps, and I'll give you, or they'll give you anyway, 20% off for the entire lifetime of your account. Torrent to your own delight, do whatever you want with it, and live with the fact you'll be a little bit more anonymous on the internet. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and have a great day.